rare but serious virus spread by rodents is raising questions about how to stay safe, especially as maybe more Oklahomans get out, start cleaning their garages, their sheds, outdoor spaces this spring. Dr. David Chansholm with Integris Health joining us now to break down what you need to know. Dr. Chansholm, good to see you again. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for having me.
Now, for those who haven't been following all of these headlines, what is hantavirus and what is the current situation with it across the country?
Across the country right now, hantavirus is a virus that we have seen in the United States before. The kind that is circulating right now on the cruise ship, the MV Hondius, that started out as kind of epicenter of that, is very different than is different than the hantavirus that we see in the United States. The one from the cruise ship is a subvariant called Andes virus, which is the only known hantavirus that can be spread person to person, which of course has been the big problem there. Hantavirus in the United States, we have had many, many cases in the past, and it is spread a little bit differently, mostly from contact with rodent excretions like saliva or feces. So it's kind of the virus that you think about when people tell you to be careful when you clean your garage out after it's been sitting, or your old dusty barn. That's where we see hantavirus in the United States very, very rarely.
So that strain is different than what has been covered right now with people coming off of that cruise ship?
Yes, they're both members of the family hantavirus. The United States variant is mostly in Southwest United States. Most people are too young to remember the outbreak in 1993 that was in New Mexico, and it's a subvariant called the Sin nombre virus, whereas this subvariant, the hantavirus, that probably started in Argentina, looks like where it was acquired by some people that got onto the cruise ship subsequently. They got it while they were on land in Argentina, then got on the boat. That one is spread person to person, and that is a subvariant called the Andes virus, which is a little bit different.
What are some of the symptoms?
Symptoms can be a mild illness. It can be just sort of feeling bad, kind of fevers and chills. Of course, where we start to worry about it is when people get into more of an adult respiratory distress syndrome, where they start having a lot of shortness of breath, start having some troubles with fluid filling the lungs, and can become critically ill very, very quickly. Hantavirus is a dangerous disease when acquired. It has a pretty high case fatality ratio in the Americas, but again, is very, very, very rare. I've only seen a couple of cases.
I was going to ask you if you have ever treated it before.
I have. Mm-hmm. Well, treatment is mostly supportive, so treat means kind of watch in this situation.
Sure, you've seen a patient with it. You know, when we used to interview you all the time, of course, that was during the COVID-19 pandemic. And I want to make it very clear that this situation is quite different from what we were talking about back in 2020, 2021. Obviously, we still have to cover it. People are wondering what this is. And now that people are back in the United States who were on that cruise ship, what are some of the misconceptions about hantavirus that you're seeing right now? And what just would you like Oklahomans to know?
I'd like them to know that not all respiratory viruses are created equal. Hantavirus is very, very different than COVID virus. It takes prolonged contact with a patient who is in the early phases of their illness. It is very, very rare. The World Health Organization has deemed it to be of low concern as far as any global spread right now. The United States has been pretty active in making sure that people identified as potential contacts from either the cruise ship or a subsequent flight to Johannesburg have been either isolated at the Nebraska Biomedical or the Emory University Atlanta Biomedical facility, or followed by state and local health authorities. I am not aware of any of that in Oklahoma, but I am not a public health representative, so I would not have any reason to know that necessarily. What Oklahomans need to know more than anything is this is a very, very low risk problem for us.
Dr. David Chansholm with Integris, we appreciate the time. It's good to see you again. Thank you for joining us, helping us separate fact from fear. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.